In this class, I will explain about the types of constructors here. In the last slide, I explained the constructor here. Now, in this one, I am explaining about the types of constructor here. In the case of the types point of view, first of all, go with the constructor definition. In Java, the constructors are special methods to initialize the object. Means while creating the object, to initialize the instance variables of a class. For this purpose, we need the special method. That method is called as a constructor. Here they share the same name as the class and do not have the return type here. Means the constructor name and the class name must be same. And also they are not having any return type. Don't write the any return type here. Even don't write the void also while writing the constructors here. Here that we are having the different types of constructors. The first one is called as the default constructor. The default meaning is whenever we are not providing any constructor, if no constructor is explicitly defined in a class, whenever you are not providing any constructor within a class here, then the Java compiler automatically provides a public no argument default constructor during the compilation. Means during the compilation itself, whenever we are not providing any constructor, it is providing the default constructor here. This constructor initialize the object fields to their default values here. Here the default is nothing but the 0 for the numerical types. Numerical types are nothing but it may be the integer or it may be the short or it may be the byte or long int here. For this numeric point of view, floating point of view and double point of view, the value is a 0. For the objects point of view, here the value is a null value here. For the boolean point of view, the value is a false value. This it is giving the default values here. Whenever we are not writing the any constructor within a class, then the compiler will provide the constructor. That constructor is called as a default constructor. See this one here. The next one is the no argument constructor. Here the no argument is nothing but it is similar to the default constructor, but it explicitly defined by the programmer. It is same as the default constructor, but it is given by the programmer, not by the compiler. It can be used to initialize the object with the default values or execute some code when object is created. During the object creation, here we can execute some piece of code here. Some code will be executed here. See this one here, I give simple example here, class example and example. Okay. Here I am writing a constructor. The constructor name and the class name must be same here. And this constructor contains the data as the system dot out of no argument constructor called here. See the example number 2 here, class my class, integer value. Here the value is an instance variable. Public my class, the constructor name is a my class here. This is the no argument, means why? Because we are not passing the any arguments are there, no parameters are there. Value equals to 10 here. Now the value becomes as a 10 here. This is called as a custom initialization. The no argument constructor, it is similar to the default only, but it is given by the programmer. In the previous case, the default is given by the compiler. It is given by the compiler, but it is given by the programmer. Let's come to the third type here. The third one is the parameterized constructor. Here the parameter is nothing but the constructor which is having the parameters to initialize with the specific values here. Whenever the constructor with parameters will initialize up to the specific values here. Now see this example here, class example. Here the constructor name is the example only. Why? Because the class name is example, constructor example here, integer x here. X is a local variable here. We are passing the x value here. This dot x equals to x. Whatever the value we are passing for this example, that value is stored in the x variable here. Here we are passing a parameter. That's why this is called as a parameterized constructor. See the second example here, class my class. Here the what is the class name? My class. It contains the two parameters, id and the name here. id and the name. Public my class. The constructor name is a my class int id comma string name here. This dot id equals to id. This dot name equals to name. Whatever the value we are passing during the object creation, the data has been set to the corresponding variables here. The id will be set into the this dot id place. The name will be set into the this dot name place here. Whenever the constructor which is having the parameters, it is called as the parameterized constructor. Next, come to the next one here. The next one is a copy constructor. Okay. Copy meaning is whenever a constructor that creates a new object as a copy of the existing object. Okay. Here we are taking the copy of the existing object to create the new object as it is. That concept is called as a copy constructor. Now see this one here, class example. The class name is example. Integer x here. X is the instance variable. Here in this point of view, the constructor is the example integer x here. Whatever the x y causing here, that is stored in the this dot x here. Now this part is called as the parameterized constructor. This is called as the parameterized constructor. Now see this one here, example obj. We are creating the example object, and by using this object here, whatever the object contains x value, that is stored in the this dot x here. Whenever we are copying the one constructor data into the another object here, one object data and another object at the time, that constructor is called as a copy constructor. Means we are copying the constructor data. Next, complete this example here. Second example, class my class. The class name is the my class and the variable name is the data. Public class integer data here. Here the my class integer data. This is called as a parameterized constructor. We are passing the values here. Okay. Next, public my class original. Okay. Here the original is an object for this my class. Whatever the data is printed in this constructor, in this object, that is stored in the corresponding variables here. Here we are copying one constructor into the other constructor here. That concept is called as the copy constructor here. Now, see this is the table here which contains the complete data, constructor type, parameters, and the purpose here. Default constructor none. None meaning is that there are no parameters are there. If we are taking the default constructor, there are no parameters are there. This is the implicit. Why? Because it is given by the compiler only. Purpose provided by the compiler if no constructor is defined. Whenever the no constructor is defined, then it is provided by the compiler. Next, the second one is the no argument constructor. None and explicit. Here the no argument is also not having any parameter. The default constructor is not having any parameters. No argument is also not having any parameters here. But this is given by the compiler. But this is given by the programmer. Programmer defined the default initialization. Parameterized constructor. Here it contains the parameters here. As the name says that it contains the parameters with parameters. Initialize the object with the specific values here. In these parameters, whatever the values we are passing, those values will be stored in the instance variables. Next, copy constructor. Here as the name says that object of the same class will be copied to the another object here. Creates a copy of an existing object here. These are the four types of constructors provided by the Java. Here, if you apply this one here, the constructor name and the class name must be same. The constructor name and the class name must be same. We are having the four types of constructors are there. The first one is a default constructor. The default meaning is that whenever you are not providing any constructor, the compiler will provide the constructor here. Here the no argument is nothing but it is also not having any parameters, but this is given by the programmer. Parameter is nothing but it contains the parameters with the specific values here. Copy constructor is the one constructor object data is copied into the another constructor here.